luck, be a little red light tonight. I think we're live. Haven, come in, Haven. This is Bobby Dimes with the Wasteland Times. But who am I kidding? You probably knew that already. Who else is constantly messing with your radio? Eesh. Apparently a lot of people. But more on that later. Boy, do I have a surprise for you. A real swell treat. All in due time, though. But right now, we've got some breaking news. So listen up, this one sounds important. Headed towards Haven, I managed to pick up a distress signal coming from the west. After a little fiddling, as I often do, I was able to recover the following message from a diesel jock from Haven by the name of Harley Nova Davidson Winterfox Chrysler. And here it is now.
There we go. Hello? Hello? Oh, good. It's finally working. My name is Harley Nova Davidson Winterfox Chrysler of the Haven Rough Riders. I've stopped for a night in this old radio tower trying to find some way to reach Haven. If you're receiving this and you're not of Haven, if you would be so kind to make sure that this gets to them. I know most of you are probably coming back from the laboratory. Hopefully everyone made it out. Myself and members of the team that I worked with to break codes to get you guys inside there, we did something. We found ourselves in Crystal Mountain, out in the northern Midwest, in a pre-fall military base. We did something really, really bad. We managed to let out a creature that I don't think anyone in the Wastes has ever seen before. The grave mind is afraid of it. It's bad. We tried to stop it. We tried not to let it out. But unfortunately, we thought that we blew it up. When we blew up the entire base we found ourselves in, and we found it walking out unscathed after we blew up the reactor of the base. I've split up from my team since then, and I'm slowly making my way back to Haven. The ride that we found in the base, it broke down, and at that point we all decided to head our separate ways. If you're coming back from the laboratory, please be on high alert. We don't know where the creature went. We don't know what its intentions are, and we don't know what it's truly capable of. We did catch it trying to siphon power off of the reactor, but we did stop it from doing that. So it may be looking for another power source, but we are unsure at all what its intentions are currently at this time. We need to call a town meeting once the gather comes around. Everyone in town that is any sort of leader. We need every grave robber, every techno savant, everyone that is capable of some kind of science or any understanding what happens after we pass on into the grave mind. We need them at this meeting. I will tell you in great detail what happened, but I need to get home first. I'm not in the best shape, and I'm going to do my best to make sure I get back with this information alive. I hope to see all of you at the gather this February, but if I don't make it, please tell Turney... Fuck, not again. You son of a... fucking piece of
So you heard the DJ. Better get your hides to that huddle. And if that message wasn't just bursting at the seams with potential stories, explosions, mysteries, and a monster that feeds on energy... Oh boy, that works. And all because of that cement mixer Doc Ottoman. And the nerve of that guy, using something as sacred as radio to lure a bunch of wastelanders to such a wicked ruse. Really gets the waves a bad name, and gets this gumshoe storming. I'm just downright disappointed I couldn't make it to that fiasco, but I've been hell-bent on getting into Haven, and I wasn't about to turn around for some kooky doctor in some murder hut anytime soon. Besides, I'm sure you've got plenty of those in Haven anywho. Well, with that out of the way, we've got one hell of a show for you tonight. And there seems to be a theme to it, too. Somebody must have hung a vacancy sign somewhere around Haven, because you guys have got a guest list that goes on for miles, with interesting guests varying from wanted to simply unwelcome. First on your guest list were visitors from the welcome side. A boisterous band of braves from Bravos have graced Haven this month. Among the enthusiastic entourage were alleged family members of your very own Sasquatch, Gall Amarok. The Black Claw clan were exactly what you'd expect them to be, terrifying and lethal in both looks and abilities. And what a reunion it was. Onlookers report the family rejoicing with some sort of family bonding experience. This odd tradition consisted of them repeatedly stabbing each other. Oh, so this is blood on the report. Huh, I wonder whose. This impromptu visit was influenced by... Well, it says here my very own broadcast. It says the airship full of braves intercepted my last show and turned around to find the man behind the mic. Witnesses report the visitors in a mob demanding, quote, "Where's Dimes?" Well, Haven, I'm just tickled pink right now. Little old dimes. Famous? You're making me feel worth a little more than 10 cents right now. But one thing does still worry me. I can't say I've been down to Bravos myself, so I'm fairly certain I haven't twisted any trousers down that stretch of the wasteland. So I hope this fame is in fact fame, due to my dashing good looks and journalism, and not infamy for, less truthful accounts of myself. I'm sure I'll be fine. After all, I'm not family, so I should be spared the family bonding experience at the very least. Moving on, this starvation seems to be in full swing. Those researching the phenomena say the prolonged absence of an adequate nutritional diet have left Haven with more advanced levels of hunger. Now, how advanced are we talking here, I hear you ask? Well, from what I've gathered from scientists I've interviewed, a number of traumas could be headed your way. Firstly, the infection within us all that patches up every wastelander so quickly after we take a licking takes a lot of energy to do its job well. Now, when properly fed, it has no problem doing this. But when your body's been lacking in the food department, that's when things get interesting. When you're not fed well enough, the infection can't boogie like it used to. So while that bullet hole might close up, the infection still struggles so greatly that you might be still left feeling half seas over. That is to say, well, crappy. Now after this, your infection will still want to patch you up, so it starts getting hungrier. Unusually hungrier. So folks suffering from this new advanced level of hunger will unwillingly gorge themselves on anything they can get their hands on, and never leave any leftovers for the icebox. But oh wait, there's more. Now comes the fun stuff. It's estimated that every Havenite exposed to this starvation since the very start has had some sinister mutation that to some could be considered a little worse than just a bad case of the tummy rumblies. Don't believe me? Check out this next story about Haven's next bundle of visitors. A small mob of Americans wandered into Haven late one night. I say wandered, but these accounts recall more of a stalking pattern. Apparently they sculled through town looking for a late-night snack, but the snacks they ended up choosing had names. Violet Goodridge and Wojtek Riker. The two were attacked by this oddly well-trained group and cannibalized just outside of Kettle. But fear not, they were brought back and patched up by a member of your local Fallow Hopes, Minister General Mary Sunshine Walker. Locals tracked down and brought the stealthy snackers to submission, but rather than killing their new guests in traditional Haven style, they struck a deal with them. After seeing remorse for their actions, Haven kindly forgave their new flesh-fed friends and pointed them in the direction of food that wasn't a citizen of Haven. In fact, a possible trade route and rehabilitation program might have also been formed with these new allies. They say don't bite the hand that feeds you. I'm not sure if Haven's the hand or the feet in this situation, but with any luck, we won't be having dinner with that lot anytime soon. This attack was brought on by the previous mentioned mutation. This is not the first case of non-gorger strains partaking in gorger tendencies. It is believed that everyone now has the ability to consume other strains' meat due to this new advanced starvation. So please, feed yourself and your loved ones. Don't think cannibalistic urges are beyond you and your friends. It can and will happen to you. Don't be another quick bite in the night. Have a snack. And visit your local kitchen or campfire and cook yourself a meal, or purchase one from a wasteland chef. Support your community with your cred instead of your corpse. This message was brought to you by the Anti-Cannibalism Kin, or ECH for short. Friend, your timing is impeccable. Your next visitor was brought here as a +1 by the Bravado Brigade. Well, maybe +2. From what I've heard, something new has been introduced to the woods around Haven. A tall, lean creature that hunts in pairs. Tall as a tree, stealthy as an assassin, and deadly enough to make even a veteran wastelander shiver in their boots. Oh, one moment, please. That's better. So, where were we? Right, the Night Whoopers. According to the reports, the one who actually organized the transportation of Haven's new nocturnal neighbors was a brave by the name of Noxon Vashnahar Taldanir Viatoka, Veal Walker of the Wastes and Crow Eater of the Seasons. Try saying that one 5 times fast. When questioned about their reasons and motivation as to why they brought such a beast to Haven, their response was simply, keeps you on your toes, yes? I, for one, admire the thoughtfulness of this Nox character. What better way to help Haven than give it its own personal trainer? If you can dodge a night whooper, you can dodge just about anything. And the star of tonight's show, the thrilling conclusion to last month's song topping the charts, the man behind the sand, Anton Anastasia, a name known across the greater Old York area as one of the more deadly things to fall out of Requiem. He decided to give Haven a visit, but not before giving you all a little show first. Citizens caught in this surprise spectacle tell stories of music being played over the intercoms and power across town being cut, before the star of the night graced the candlelit main room with his presence. So, what happened next, you may ask? Did Anton slaughter half the town in traditional Requiem fashion? Did Haven form a murder hobo dogpile on their new visitor? Well, neither. Apparently some words were exchanged, and Anton just left. No, but not empty-handed, of course. The wrecker left with a crate of supplies the town fought tooth and nail for, as well as a map of Haven. Now, all of this seems out of place for you, Haven. Were you all that afraid of Anton, that no one wanted to stand up to such a murderous legend? Or was there a deal made behind closed doors for all these supplies? No, Haven. You're just simply wonderful. What a mystery. I, for one, can't wait to dive into the details once I finally make it into town. Now, while all this behavior seems out of character for you lot, you quickly jumped back into character as the town grew to American-level mobs of outrage when Anton decided to take off with a third surprise treat, a bucket of cheese puffs. You can take their supplies. You can even give out their sleeping locations to a renowned killer. That won't bother Haven one bit, but mess with their puffed cheese? Oh, brother, you're cruising for a bruising. So in the end, it was Anton on the radio, and Anton in the skull mask. So it looks like the Whisper Wing eventually gets something right after all. Well, I'll be damned. Haven, your area has some supernatural timing. You probably guessed that my studio isn't indoors tonight, but rather under the stars amongst the wasteland creepy crawlies. So with no walls, sadly, there can be no Whisper Wing tonight. Thank you, my impatiently tempered tempest. Yes, you heard it here first, folks. Tonight, my flirtatious facts and scandalous secrets ride in on the Whisper Wind. So I'll stop blowing hot air and let the Whisper Wind blow you away with its stories tonight. A band of bony butcher buds beating a bunch of bloody beef. Who the hell wrote this? Sightings of a group of mysterious strangers butchering large quantities of unidentifiable meat in the woods near Haven. Like most people who hang out in the woods late at night, the party had their faces obstructed by skull masks. Is it possible that this is where the smell of bacon came from? While most assume the worst in this cruel world, let's dare you and I, listeners, to give these mysterious meatheads the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps there's a new meat market in the woods. An odd real estate, but who are we to judge bold entrepreneurial risks? After all, shouldn't we all be shopping local and supporting our town's growing economy in these hard times? Yet again, we have talk of a disease threatening Haven, this time having connection to everyone's favorite undead wasteland walkers. As if these mealy-mouthed monsters weren't a plague of their own, wasteland doctors have connected this new mysterious disease to them. But instead of being a cause of it, they just might turn out to be the cure. This study shows that individuals with higher levels of exposure to Zed have little to no chance of catching this disease. Fascinating. These shufflers might just be good for something more than target practice after all. The exact cause and side effects of this illness are still unknown due to too many variables and lack of consistent data, making research difficult. If you or a loved one have contracted any sort of infection, we urge you to seek medical attention right away. You may already be beyond saving, but donating your body to science is a lot more useful than a proper burial, says one Darwin doctor. Spring is just around the corner, and March winds and April showers may also bring an end to this grueling famine. With hopes of winter's cold finally breaking and crops once again peeking through the spring soil, wastelanders are hopeful to see a light at the end of this cold, dark tunnel. But one group is skeptical. Stories of a cult called the Pack of Puxatony claim to be able to predict the transition of seasons. Their god is a rodent that emerges from the ground, only to tell them if they've been loyal and pleased him throughout the winter season. If ample amounts of sacrificial lifeblood have been poured down the deity's lair, then spring will come early. But if his winter's bloodlust is not quenched, well, the winter will continue until it is. One elder hog ranted to one of my sources that, quote, never has their lord been so unpleased. They continue to rant about a winter to last years to come, and oceans of lifeblood poured down the sacrificial hole in order to quell their god's anger. In typical wasteland fashion, the interview dissolved into babbling nonsense, as my source claimed to have narrowly evaded being stabbed and turned into the next sacrifice. So, Haven, what do you think? 6 more years of winter, or an early spring? You know, aside from the blood sacrifice to a ground-dwelling rodent of undetermined size and power, I think this one sounds like a fun tradition. Don't bet any money on any fights this month, Haven. There's been talk of some combat drugs springing up in your market. Sounds exciting to me. While I may have a big voice, this newsboy body of mine ain't the most bulletproof if you catch my drift. I mainly avoid combat where I can, and stick to a quick scoot when things go from civil interview to lethal engagement. But with some of these drugs, who knows? Maybe even this rigatoni-armed reporter can hold his own in a scuffle. So if your arms are as limp as a dead daunt, keep your eyes peeled around your local candy shop. They might just be packing the punch you've been looking for. As if food wasn't hard enough to come by, some wasteland citizens claim to have seen a new poison out of the wastes. Poisoning food and water is bad enough, but this one's got a catch. Some say this specific poison violently targets wastelanders with aberrant abilities. To know if you've just been poisoned by this new sinister seasoning, I've compiled a list of symptoms for you. Symptoms include, but are not limited to, drowsiness, itchy throat, bad breath, scurvy, inflammation, fatigue, sneezing, coughing, wheezing, runny nose, blood red irises, kidney stones, constipation, diarrhea, headache, erectile dysfunction, psionic dysfunction, vomiting, nosebleed, rash, memory loss, heat flashes, cold sweats, lukewarm fever, uncontrollable gas, blurred vision, bleeding gums, stomach ulcers, hemorrhoids, exsanguination, spontaneous combustion, kidney failure, appendicitis, heart palpitations, bone erosion, sporadic bone growth, tooth decay, arthritis, onycholosis, upset stomach, contagion, and death. A long, slow, painful, horrible death. So after all that excitement, I think it's time for my surprise, Haven. Are you ready? After a long hike across the wastes and up the coast, I think I'm just outside your town. Yes, sirree, from the top of this hill, I can just about make it out. I see your town's lights peeking through the trees. I see smoke from your warm fires climbing high into the night sky. I see that glorious radio tower blinking brilliantly like my favorite star. I see a very large airship headed straight for me.
Bobby Dimes.
Well, it seems like they know me. Bobby Dimes of the Wasteland Times. How the hell are you?
Shut up, radio man, and get in the ship.
Now, wait just a damn dirigible moment. I'm not going anywhere, you hear? The only place I'm going is Haven.
He's feisty, I like it. Get him!
No, I don't like the sound of that.
Bobby, you're my biggest fan. Oh my god, it's so nice to finally meet you. Now get on a fucking airship.
What the name of the thing do you think you're doing? Get your hands off of me!